What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Injuries Explained project, where we are on a hell of a mission to make chronic injuries obsolete by helping those that are injured and in pain get properly educated and informed on all their treatment options so they can have the best possible outcomes without ever having to resort to pain pills, injections, or surgeries, which only make things worse. My name is Dr. Matt Maggio. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the show. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. All of the information presented in today's episode is strictly my opinion and in no way, shape, or form should be misinterpreted as concrete medical advice or recommendations. If you are dealing with an injury and in pain, please reach out to a qualified medical practitioner for a full diagnosis. If you've already done that, you haven't got any real answers, and you're frustrated and want to find out what's really going on, you can reach out to us directly, and all the information to do that, to request a consultation, is available in the show notes. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the very first episode. All right, very first episode, gonna really go over the mission, my story, and the structure of the project to really just give you some context of, why I created this, my story, the things I've seen. I do want to give one last disclosure or disclaimer before we get started on the show. I'm a very blunt and honest truth teller that definitely isn't for everyone, and I will use some choice language from time to time. So if that offends you, don't bother listening or complaining, because I don't have time to deal with your bullshit feelings. There we go. Got to hit the explicit button. I am a doctor that likes to swear every once in a while. I can't help it. I'm a loudmouth, very brash, but try to get to the truth. And sometimes some F-bombs fly out and it'll happen, but I'm not going to apologize for that. That's who I am. So my story and why did I create this? I actually had a bunch of my patients in my own clinic that have said to me over the years, they say, Dr. Maggio, you really have a good knack and like a gift of being able to explain things in a simplistic way that makes sense, where it doesn't feel like you're just using a bunch of big fancy words and trying to talk over them. You're really just giving us an idea of what's going on, using analogies so we can make like the best decisions about what's going on. And people are like, you should share more of this and help educate people more, because there's a lot of people that could use just honesty about what's going on in the medical system and what's going on. A big reason I started this myself was I lost my dad. His name was Fred, back in 2016. Can't believe we're already going on 7 years since he died. He died of a pain pill overdose. After, I think last time we counted, it was like 8 surgeries between his knees, his hips, his back. He died at the age of 58 of a pain pill overdose. I share a lot about what happened on that last day on my YouTube channel. It's always, a decent watch to go in and see the emotional side of that and what it took from him, what it took from my family. It was just tragic how it happened. What I'll do is, I'll link that video up in the show notes if you're wherever you're consuming this, and you can go and watch that as well and just get a better idea of what drives me and seeing that and what I had to watch him go through on his last day. It was awful. And it's pretty normal for a lot of people that's happened in our world. Opioid deaths are on the rise and overdose are on the rise. Right now in 2023, I think they said, into last year, 2022, that the number one cause of death from people 18 to 49 is overdose deaths. They're blaming that on like fentanyl and other things like that. But a lot of people that have to resort to fentanyl and really bad shit, a lot of times they started with a prescription drug from a doctor because they were injured and in pain, and nobody's really talking about it. You're like, oh, we have an opioid crisis, we have to get rid of the opioids. They're not talking about actual solutions to fix the problem and what's going on. The medical system is just completely broken and only getting worse. I always say to my clients, they come in and they're very skeptical because they've been through the ringer that is the current medical model, full of false promises and lies. And it's only getting worse. Pharmaceutical companies, big surgery centers, all sorts of stuff. And people are getting worse and worse. So I guess what I want to talk about next is what makes me qualified to talk about anything. Why am I someone that you might want to listen to? So my own story. I'm 37 now. I'll be 38 this year. Back in college, I blew out my back playing football. I actually didn't do it playing football. I did it weightlifting. I didn't warm up enough. I was stupid. Went into the gym for weightlifting, didn't warm up, and then power clean like 350 pounds and caught it wrong, and boom, back just went out. Really horrible pain. Worst thing I've ever felt in my entire life. Couldn't move, was on the floor, screaming, agonizing pain. Here I am 20, I think I was 20 years old at that time. I'm like, holy shit, what did I do? How did I mess myself up this bad? So this was my junior year, going into my senior year. Went the traditional medical route. Ended up having 2 herniated discs, my L5S1 and my L4L5. Was recommended for surgery. Was told that I was never going to be able to play again. I should just hang it up. That's just how it's going to be. Even at 20, I was like, I don't think that sounds right. I don't think that this is it for me. We were going into our senior year and we were pretty damn good. We were going to compete for the national championship. And I was like, there's got to be other things that I can do. So I ended up declining surgery against the surgeon's, wishes. And they basically told me that I'm going to have so many problems. I'll be disabled. I'll probably have trouble being able to walk. I could probably even have trouble like going to the bathroom down the road. All the scare tactic shit that they do. When you're 20, that's hard. That was a tough decision to swallow, but I did it. I'm like, there's got to be a different way. So I started going to a chiropractor. But this chiropractor was different. They did the adjustments, but a lot of what they did was like a lot of like soft tissue work, around the spine and addressing the muscles. And they got me back. I actually felt a heck of a lot better, rehabbed that whole injury, and then I was able to get back on the field and play that whole year. Had a really good season. Not tooting my own horn. I'm not glory days talking about how sweet I was back in college, but I made all conference and had a good year, and felt pretty good. Then over the years, that back problem continued to, rear its ugly head down the road, but I got such a good response with the treatment. Originally I was a psychology major. I actually have a degree in psychology with a minor in religious studies. So who would have thought? But I realized I didn't want to listen to people bitch and complain about their problems all day. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I'm like, hey, I really liked going to this chiropractor. How about I go to chiropractic school? That'll be really good. I'll go to chiropractic school. So I went to chiropractic school. Didn't take me long in chiropractic school to start questioning everything, like, why are we doing the adjustments? Does the adjustments really do anything? And I started asking more questions about why not fix the soft tissue? Why not do these type of things? And, a lot of people in chiropractic school were like, well, if you don't believe in the power of the adjustment, then you probably should just drop out, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to include a video also on that about why I have my doctorate in chiropractic, but I've never done an adjustment in practice, and why I only work the soft tissue. It can really help give you some enlightenment about really why chiropractic, I don't really consider it a valid treatment, because it's actually not fixing anything. But needless to say, I got really into anatomy and soft tissue and physiology. I finished chiropractic school, did the things I needed to do to get my doctorate. And now I've been in practice. I'm going on my 12th year now. And I continue to see how jacked up everything is in the current medical model. And instead of complaining about it, I just decided to do something to help give a true and, non-biased view of what is going on with injuries, what treatments can provide benefits, which don't work, and which make the problem actually worse. So going forward, the structure of the shows is going to be pretty interesting. And this is how I'm going to kind of break it down. So I'm going to want to cover a specific injury, going into each episode, going over what is really causing it, some common treatments. And what I'm going to do is break it into what the medical model would do, specifically like orthopedic surgeons, then what conservative care model would be. And what I consider conservative care is going to be physical therapy, chiropractic, and sometimes massage. And then I'm going to break down what they claim they can do versus what they actually do. And lastly, just give some insights as to what I would actually do if this was my problem and how I would go about approaching that, and just really giving you some information about what's going on. Like I talked about in the opening, the goal of this is really to help you get better educated and informed, because I don't want you to end up on pain pills and have to do injections or surgeries, which just ruin everything. It freaking killed my dad. It ruined his life. And I've seen so many people in my own office that have had multiple surgeries. They've just continued to get worse and they're not getting any real answers. The system is completely messed up and people are dying every day. And I don't want that to happen. I can't sit idle and just be in my own clinic and be like, oh, this is great, I'm helping you. I need to help more people. And it starts with getting you properly educated and informed so you can make the best decisions and not just do what they tell you. You have to take control of your health. You can't be a victim. You have to make sure that you do everything you can, your due diligence, get information, because literally your life depends on it. Because this show is not going to be intended for, like I said in the disclaimer, it's not intended for specific advice for your own injury. It's just going to be a better insight of all the options and what's really going on. And if you've having these issues, like I said, reach out to a qualified medical practitioner to get a full diagnosis. But a lot of people have already done that. And if you're getting the runaround, not getting real answers, you're frustrated, you're still in pain, things aren't looking up, and you do want to get an injury consultation, you can request that. And if I think that there's something that I can do to help, I'll be happy to do a consultation with you and kind of point you in the right direction. That's the only way that I can actually give concrete medical advice and recommendations. All the information for that is in the show notes, and there's links to my website and asking questions about that. And if you want to get some real answers about what's going on, because at the end of the day, the goal of this will be to have a full library out there of all the injuries for like reference points. So you can go back to and listen if you have one of these injuries, or if you have someone in your family or someone that you know is dealing with it, you can share it with them as well. So that's going to be the structure of the episodes going forward. I'm going to try not to ramble on too much because I hate these really long podcasts that kind of just never ending talking. It doesn't really get to the point. So I'm going to keep them around like 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on that. I'm going to try my best. I'm still in my own practice, a very busy clinic. I'm going to try my best to get one of these episodes out at least once per week. If I can get rolling, I'm going to try to do 2 per week. And the best thing that I can ask in exchange for putting this information out there, if it's something of value, share it with somebody else, share this information with other people. Because at the end of the day, I need to get this care to more people so we can keep people the hell off pain pills, because it only makes things worse. I think that's all I got for you guys on the first episode. I appreciate you guys listening, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.